After a quick break, we are right back into the action. Hello, welcome to the second match of the penultimate round of the 3-digit World Cup 2026. This is the first match of two in their pursuit to make that fabled Grand Finals weekend. Right now, on the left side, we have C3 Chile, and on the right, we have South Korea at C6. Once again, you are watching 3WCOs. My name is gamicrayola, and joining me in the commentary booth is the lovely willwam. Willwam, we have quite the match on our hands, so, drop your thoughts.
Absolutely, yeah. Chile, has kind of had a pretty safe run through this bracket so far, right? They only dropped down to losing bracket this week from losing against C2 Hong Kong last week. Meanwhile, South Korea losing all the way back in round of 16 to France on that tiebreaker, but they have managed to fight their way to this finals round. And now, I think, this higher SR is kind of what they're known for in these World Cups, right? They tend to make it to these finals and grand finals rounds pretty consistently. So I think even though Chile does have that sort of higher seed, obviously, I think it'll be quite interesting to see how South Korea performs on a pool like this. So I'm pretty excited for this match.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to talk. So I'll talk a little bit more about these two teams' histories later on. But real quick, let's talk about the bans that we have on screen. South Korea is looking to take out the double time 1 and the double time 3, whereas Chile is gonna be taking out the hidden 3 alongside. Oh, is the ban out? It looks like that's a number 5 as well for Chile. That's right. So South Korea taking out all of the double time mechanics maps, whereas Chile is going to be looking to take out the gimmick. Very, very understandable, I think. Nobody wants to play gimmick into South Korea, and South Korea, as much as they like this high SR, they only like it on one side of the coin. They only like that they're able to outscale their opponents on control, but the same definitely cannot be said when it comes to the speed, right? In fact, their speed weakness that they're extremely infamous for will only continue to get worse as you move into these later SRs. So makes a lot of sense that they want to take out the speed stamina map in DT3 alongside, the box standard bread and butter high BPM mechanics aim test in DT1. Whereas Chile taking out both gimmick maps, one being the Nomad 5, which is the precision, the CS8 precision map, the hyper precision map, alongside the hidden 3, which is a very, very difficult hidden reading challenge. But without further ado, South Korea are going to kickstart this match with a Hard Rock 3 pick. Now, I think we were talking a little bit about this Hard Rock 3, and it's a bit of a weird one, I think, Willem. What are your thoughts on this?
Going into Precision as your first pick is obviously quite ballsy, right? Like, Precision is one of those skill sets that you don't expect a team to be the most consistent on. Like, I feel like South Korea, we were expecting them to go into more control-y picks as they've done throughout this tournament. But I think against a team like Chile, not going to control, I kind of see it, understand it a bit more, right? Because Chile does seem to like to go into the control with their picks as well. Even though they're, like, very good on mechanics as well, they seem to like going to the control. So South Korea just going for a different angle to start off this match. But yeah, we're going to be getting into this Hard Rock 3 now. Going to be your bog standard precision pick here. Custom map by Alvaria, also known as Elia. And yeah, this map is just going to test your wide, CS 6.5 aim with a few, messy bursts scattered in between as well.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's all about how you apply the 6.5, right? Chile banned out the hyper precision map, so on paper, South Korea should be the favorites. But as we jumpstart with the map at hand, it's clear to see that nobody in the lobby can really exercise any sort of comfort when it comes to all of the bursts that are being thrown at them. But after that first KI, Hanayume and Petit are going to be the two large combos in the lobby. But with that miss from Gonza, South Korea going to hold an early lead, going to put their pedal on the gas, going to put their foot on the gas, pardon me, as Amame Koko's the only one to find the miss. But with that miss coming in from Petit, Hanayume is now staring down Alegrissimo all on his lonesome. But Alegrissimo finds a miss, and now Hanayume has the entire scoreline at their disposal, but with no recovery recovery, he's gonna take some time to bring the scoreline back into his favor. But with 2/3 of the map left in the tank, there is definitely more than enough time.
Moving to the next section of the map here, Hanayume is just uncontested and slowly bring that score back, but he finds the miss. And South Korea, with that accuracy buffer they built up at the start of the map, is going to keep their score on their side for now. And, you know, there are some recovery combos coming from the side of South Korea. Mamiya Koko and Allegrisimo. Allegrisimo now fighting 1v1 against Alfio on the side of Chile. The score is still neck and neck as we move into this last third of the map.
Yeah, neck and neck indeed, right, Will? And that scoreline is on a tightrope walk as Alfio is really giving South Korea a run for their money, passing that 500 mark when it comes to the combo, and Hanayume right behind him, the highest score in the lobby, full stop right now. Allegrisimo trying their best to hold back the floodgate, but it's not going to prevent the scoreline from shifting back to the left side. But with that miss from both Alfio and Hanayume, it doesn't matter. And the rest of the misses from South Korea do not matter whatsoever, as Allegrisimo hits that entire pattern going into the last quarter of the map. These weird slider velocity changes come to attack these players, but comparatively I think this section is in fact slightly easier than the myriad of weird zigzag bursts that were being thrown at these players all before. And as the combos from Allegrisimo begin to stabilize, so does that scoreline, 70k, and growing in favor of the right side. I mean, consistency is so hard to get, so when you have a score like Allegrisimo, it's gonna be very hard to come back, but a miss might spell otherwise, as Gonza and Hanayume are knocking on their door.
I mean, as you said, that Gonza finds the miss at the very end, and I just don't think there's enough time for Chile to bring this one back. Allegrisimo just holds for so long in that middle section there, and South Korea is going to be taking that first point. Maybe a lot closer than they would have liked to. Only a 95k difference there, but a point is a point, and that's exactly what they need right now. Bring them up to 1-0.
Yep, that's right, but already this early pick shows that Chile definitely have a fighting chance on the control, right? They made it close until the very end. Really, it's just, the passing of carry performances from Petit in the first half and then Allegrisimo in the second half. Kind of similar to what Chile had from both Alfie and Hanayume. But nonetheless, that first point is going to go in favor of South Korea. Now, before I go on my spiel about these two rosters, willwam, do you think that Chile goes for the mechanics this early? They have the Nomotru and they have the DT2 at their disposal, so it will make a lot of sense for them to go into these two maps if they want to get that early front foot through that tapping.
I mean, absolutely, right? I think, especially at this SR where South Korea are really going to struggle on that tapping mechanics, I think just Nomotru and DT2 are just such safe picks for them. Like, mechanics is something that you abuse against a team that's weak on it, and Chile has shown, especially from their qualifiers performance, that they are no slouch at all when it comes to this mechanics. And I think they will scale very well into these maps, but instead, they're going into the hidden 2 instead. They're going for the control angle.
What?
Holy moly.
What? Okay, well, you and I were talking before this match, right? We were like, if there is any one pick that we had to label as South Korea slot or South Korea coded this pool, it has to be the hidden 2, right? And I think both of us stand by that. I think we still stand by that, right? There's like this hidden 2 is just, it has a Mamiya Kokoro written all over it. It's like hidden, plus it's a lot of angular changes, it's a lot of flow aim, it's a lot of accel, decel, and like flow is the name of the game. Circle tech, it's the epitome of circle tech. And so for that reason, it just looks so South Korea coded, right?
Yeah, I mean, Chile first picking this into South Korea is such... I don't even know what to say. This is
aura. This is powerful. This is powerful.
This is a crazy pick here. And as you mentioned, yeah, just so much going on in this custom map by Slyers and the OS original from, I believe, the 7K World Cup.
Yes.
And yeah, this map just packs so much at you in its short duration, right? It has, as you mentioned, a lot of angular changes, snap section in the middle even, and just plenty of that circle tech, which South Korea is so known for, right? Like, why is Chile going for a map like this early into South Korea, and like Chile picking it into South Korea? Like, crazy stuff. I honestly don't know what to think.
This pick is just labeled with aggression. Like, this is such an aggressive pick from Chile. Like, they are trying to make like, and it comes back to what we were talking about before, right? Willwam. Chile is a country that likes their control, right? They really, really like playing their control against almost every single country beforehand to get to this point. They have always stuck to control. Control has been their game plan. It was only during their Hong Kong match where they tried to pull out some of the mechanics. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work, but they tried to pull out the mechanics against Hong Kong, who is, you know, a country that's weaker on mechanics. So, but into South Korea, who is oftentimes known as one of the strongest countries, full stop, in control, it just baffles me. You know, it's just labeled with aggression. Like, if this is not an ego pick, I don't know what else is, because there's no way any sane person goes hidden 2 control. Yeah, let's pick that to South Korea. But only time will tell. Welcome to Akiri Evolutionary Armia from the 7K Osmania World Cup.
This map is incredibly short, right? Anything can happen, but it really does pack a punch. We're going to be seeing these messy circle patterns just now, and everyone hits that first one, but Alfeu on Chile is the first one to find the break.
Yeah, that's right. Sherba is going to be the next one to add to the total. So now it's 2 FCs to 2. Accuracy-wise, it's just dead even. But Algrissimo is soaring high above the 99 alongside Amamiya Kokoro with the SS. And with misses coming in from Alfie and Nikori, this is the South Korea show that we know them so well for. Amamiya Kokoro does find the miss, but Algrissimo is still there, consistent as ever, with the 500 combo to his name as we move into the second quarter of the map. And with no response from Chile going into this free combo section, Algrissimo is going to just continue to compound as we move into the 1/3 section. He's really trying his best to squeeze out as much combo as he can from this FC, and for what it's worth, he's doing very, very well.
Yeah, there just seems to be no good response on the side of Chile there, and Algrissimo is just roaming scot-free now, almost 2/3 of the way into the map, and still holding that FC, building a 250k score lead for South Korea's side. I mean, Nikori is on the recovery combo, but what can you do against this incredible score on Algrissimo now? 900 combo and counting, and Chile just doesn't seem to have a chance in this map at all.
I mean, like, look at what they're putting on screen right now. Sherba might have found the miss. Amamiya Kokoro and Algrissimo may have gone down, but even the accuracy itself is enough to topple the likes of Chile, right? The scoreline is very, very quickly shifting towards that left side, but as we move into the last seconds of the map, I don't know if that 500 combo from Gonza is going to be anywhere enough to begin to think about the comeback. And once again, Willwam, it's not about the carry. It was never about the carry performances, because when you pick into South Korea's ballpark, they can beat you on combo. They don't even need to beat you on combo. They got you on the accuracy. And look at what South Korea did. 97.93, 98.55, beating out the entirety of the Chile roster with the exception of Gonza. But even Gonza gets beaten out on the combo. This is why you don't try. You don't try. No way, man.
Crazy stuff. Well, I think Chile is definitely going to avoid the control from now on based on that performance. I mean, picking hidden 2. We'll just have to see what they respond with next. I'm hoping that they just play into the mechanics that they're known for. But as of right now, it's going to be South Korea to respond with their next pick and hopefully bring this up to 3-0. I mean, I feel like they would continue going into the control given that performance was so dominant, but yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. They could go for a lot of things here.
Yeah, no, if I had to choose Willwam, right, you win so decisively on that hidden 2 that no mod 4 and no mod 3 is looking very, very enticing to you, I will say. And that Hard Rock 2 as well, given how Algrissimo had such a standout performance on the hidden 2 as well, why not go for the Hard Rock 2? The Hard Rock 2 is sort of like the hidden 2. They both fall in a similar ballpark of tech, but where hidden 2 is more so focused on the angular changes to flow in, Hard Rock 2 is more focused on cuts. It's more focused on the sharp movements when it comes to your cursor agility. But it is a very, very good analog to what we just saw from the hidden 2, right? So wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if South Korea decide to double down into more and more control.
Yeah, I think the other angle I can see them going is maybe going into the free mod 3, right? Like Chile banned out both the mod 5 and the hidden 3, both very hard gimmick picks, but instead our predictions are all off and South Korea are going into more aim, going into the no mod 1.
Okay, like, this is not a bad pick, but like, this is a why pick, right? Like there were so many other good picks from South Korea. Why go for No Mod 1 instead, right? No Mod 1 typically known to be a later stage pick because it's something that's very accessible to a lot of these players. And so for that reason, it's oftentimes compared to the RNG Fest. Do you really want to go for an RNG Fest this early? Part of me says that, okay, part of me is sort of sitting with South Korea. Maybe they want to go for, you know, a map that's very easily influenced by nerfs this early on so that the nerfs don't hit them. And another thing that works for South Korea is that if they pick this No Mod 1 and they win it, they save their following control picks such as, you know, the No Mod 3, No Mod 4, Free Mod 3, and the Hard Rock 2 for later. So that could be a potential angle that South Korea is looking to play into, right? Having that sort of insurance. But at the same time, when you have so much of the pool at your disposal, is No Mod 1 really the best angle of attack? And I don't know. I feel like this is an opportunity for Chile to take a point.
Maybe, yeah. I do think, you know, No Mod 1 certainly becomes less of an accessible and RNG fest slot like we're maybe used to, especially at this SR, right? You know, No Mod 1 really becomes a skill set at this sort of 7-star, 8-star sort of boundary, right? But, you know, this map really just... I don't know. I don't know why South Korea is going for this, I'll be honest. I think... I do remember South Korea complaining about not enough conventional aim in last week's pool, which, you know, this map certainly is very conventional aim, right? So your Kirigiri, wide spacing cross-screen jumps for 4 minutes and 12 seconds, and it just really tests your aim hand stamina. Right? You really need to just have the endurance to be able to hit this stuff, right?
And for that reason, actually, now that you mentioned that, well, I'm actually kind of surprised that we're seeing my keyboard in for a map like this. Definitely would have expected Allegrissimo to be the third player here, because my keyboard is typically more well known for their tapping mechanics, but currently they are the fill. But with that said, this is a 4 minute and 12 seconds long aim gauntlet. It's just the epitome of No Mod 1. Just cross-screen jumps for an entire 4 minutes. Early stages of the map, Hanayume and Nakori both find misses, but there is still a lot of leg room for these players to play around, so a lot more to be desired as we move into the further KIs of this map.
Absolutely, yeah. South Korea still holding that 3FC, just one on the side of Chile actually with the recovery on Hanayume. But as we get into this first KI here, the star jumps come in, this 11, 12 note star jump patterns that really test your inconsistency, and Chikori on the side of South Korea is the one to find multiple breaks actually, and that is going to give Chile the early lead combo lead. Nakori and Mamiya Kokoro Hanayume, and just as I say that, find misses at the very end, and now it is just my keyboard versus Alfie in the 1v1 out of this first KI.
Damn, my keyboard we're both finding misses. That leaves just my keyboard, the newcomer from the South Korean roster, as the only one to hold. But as it stands right now, it's a battle of the recoveries as Alfie and my keyboard are in a deadlock. Hanayume might find a miss, but it is gonna get traded up by Chikori. Right now, it's just a 1v1. It's just 3 1v1v1s, so just happening simultaneously. And it's slightly leaning in favor of Chile as we move into that next KI. Here's where we're expecting to see the next bout of misses. Once again, just everything we've seen before on the map. All about these cross-screen jumps. And Alfie is going to be the one to find the miss, but it is traded up by my keyboard. And so now the highest combos in the lobby are once again shifted to Nakori and Amamiya Kokoro. But Amamiya Kokoro will not get far as Nakori walks into the second half of the map with his combo intact. And he's going to try to squeeze out as much score as he can from this lead.
I mean, that score is still on a knife's edge right now. Nakore with the highest combo in the lobby, but it honestly isn't much, right? He's going to need his entire team to be able to hold combos. I mean, there's still so much map left for either team to run away with this, right? But as of right now, you know, we're in this sort of free combo section, and Nakore is really going to make use of that. All the way up that 600 combo, but finds him is just as I say that.
Yeah, no, he will not get too far with that combo. It's still a 34k scoreline in favor of Chile, but it is going to decrease very, very fast as Nakore loses his balance a little bit as we move into the tapping section of the map. Tripori finds a miss, so it is going to trade things out, going to slow down the bleeding. And in fact, that looks like it's going to be enough to once again swing the scoreline back into the left side. But you cannot get any sort of consistency when a map is this aim intensive, and as the players start to get tired, Hana Yume finds the miss, and now he's backed up against the corner as Amamiya Kokoro and My Keyboard chase him down, and they slay him down as Amamiya Kokoro is the only one left alive, moving into this final quarter of the map. But Amamiya Kokoro doesn't get too far as now Nakore is once again holding that scoreline in his hands. It is too close, willwam. The accuracies from every single player are so incredibly tied up, and now it's just a matter of chain misses as we move into the most intense section of the map. It's a complete ghost town from the entire lobby, and it looks like we're gonna see stagnation for just a little bit. A bit of calm in the scoreline, but definitely not any calm on the lobby as the misses will continue to flood the screen. Amamiya Kokoro holding at slight combo lead, but 100 is all he's gonna get. Going into the final sections of the map, the scoreline looks to stabilize in favor of the left side as it slowly trickles further and further to Chile's side off the back of Alfew's 99.2% combo into the last sections. Chile take that breakpoint right back from South Korea. What a no-mod one! Oh my god!
I mean, no one could hold any sort of consistent combo there at the end, and Chile just having the overall better team score there, just barely be able to steal that breakpoint right back. And now they have their own pick to respond with, and that like kind of locks out the standard aim for South Korea, right? That's definitely not great for South Korea.
Well, like, once again, willwam, it leads me to think, like, it begs the question, was this risk really necessary? I don't think this risk was necessary at all. I think South Korea could have just gone for the Hard Rock 2 and called it a day. Like, there was no need to risk them losing their advantage against Chile, but alas, what has passed, and the pick is gonna go back into the hands of Chile. What kind of angle do you think they're gonna look to attack with this time?
I am still kind of set on that mechanics angle, right? Like, they just won the No Mod 1, which was your air mechanics, and I think they should just go into more mechanics, whether it be tapping mechanics such as the GT2 or No Mod 2, or, you know, air mechanics like the Hidden 1, Hard Rock 1. I think that is the angle, but again, they want to go into the control with the No Mod 4.
Bro,
wow, this is crazy
balls to the walls.
Losing that Hidden 2 against South Korea, and they still want to go into control after that, even though you just won No Mod 1. I mean, what are we seeing here?
Is this some unknown talent, or is this an immense amount of complacency from Chile? But we're gonna have to wait and see. This No Mod 4 is probably unlike anything that we've seen in this map pool. I believe this was a custom map for the Perennial. A custom map for the Grand Finals No Mod 6 from the Perennial 2021. It's a it's hell. Like, this map, it's just hell. It's like heck, but it's kind of not heck. It's like heck, but let's say we had to put it in the No Mod 6 slot, right? It's just heck that kind of doesn't feel right. The sliders fly all across the screen, and again, I feel like we're gonna say this a lot for a lot of the maps in this pool, but consistency is so hard to find. It's not like last week No Mod 4, the DJ Rice map, the DJ Rice custom, where there were ups and downs on the map. This map is just constantly up, and you're constantly having incredibly dense sliders, incredibly dense aim control being thrown at you again and again and again and again for 2 minutes and 21 seconds. So it's real bullet hell.
Yeah, I mean, this map just really throws so much at you in that 221-second package, right? As you mentioned, a lot of rhythmy, like, just hard to read elements, and I think, back in the day, this was incredibly hard for players. I think nowadays it's a lot better now that players have had time to, get accustomed with this one. Very famous map by Nathan, loved, I believe. Yeah, just very tricky, as you mentioned. I really don't know how either team is going to fare on this because, South Korea is the control team, but we really haven't seen anything like this so far in the tournament. So very excited to see.
But then again, right, this is definitely the control skill cap, one of the control skill cap picks that we've been talking all up South Korea's alley. So definitely going to a pick like this, it's very difficult to picture Chile being the favorites to win on a pick like this. But we're gonna have to wait and see. And instantly, the map shows its true colors, right? This is everything that we're gonna be seeing in these 2 minutes and 21 seconds. And with Nikori and Alphew finding the first 2 misses of the map, early lead gonna go in favor of South Korea.
Also like to mention the accuracy lead from South Korea. Mamia Kokoro is still up at 98.7%, which is absolutely crazy for a rhythmy controlly map like this, and that's just gonna keep that score lead firmly in South Korea's hands. I mean, it's only 130k, but Chile just seems to be struggling on this map quite a bit. Nikori and Alphew just keep finding misses. Gonza is really just left on his own to contest with these full combos from the side of South Korea, and as everyone falls, Amamiya Kokoro is the only combo to remain intact.
Yeah, that's right. Amamiya Kokoro completely uncontested in the lobby as we move into the second half of the map. Amamiya Kokoro might have found a miss, but that is so much damage dealt to the scoreline. And this is a pretty short map. 200k in favor of South Korea with no response from Chile as we move into the only slow section, the only calm in this map. Really, I don't know, man. I don't think Chile really have anything left in the tank. 200k is very, very difficult to make up. And when you have nobody building any sort of significant combo lead against your opponent, it's very, very difficult to find any sort of comeback. And once again, Nikori's miss is definitely not going to do them any favors. Followed up by Gonza as well. I mean, it's rough looking at this No More 4.
The team performance from South Korea is just so consistent, right? All of them have managed to get a very solid score on this map. Meanwhile, Chile just unfortunately just doesn't have that consistency that South Korea has, and South Korea are just going to be taking this one pretty comfortably by a 160k lead, taking yet another breakpoint on Chile's No Mod 4 pick. I mean, I feel like this was pretty expected,
keep doing this,
right? Like
Chile
they can't
keep doing this.
Keep going into the control against the team like South Korea.
Man, what is happening? What is possessing them to continue to beat into the control picks? Because the thing is, even if Chile really wanted to play these control picks, which I don't doubt that they do, a lot of these picks are very, very fun. Is it really above them to anticipate South Korea picking these picks into them? I feel like from a strategic standpoint, you're definitely expecting to receive these picks. I don't think these are picks that you aggress with, really. But alas, you can't change the past that has been written. So it's back to the drawing board for them. And once again, we're gonna see if South Korea is able to convert yet another breakpoint into a lead. And I'm thinking of another control pick here, but maybe they're gonna prove me wrong. Maybe they go into No Mod 3. You know what? Maybe they go into No Mod 2. Maybe they go into No Mod 2.
Honestly, at this point, I have no idea what either team is really going for. Right? I think South Korea may want to stick on the impasse.
Free Mod 1?
But I don't know. Actually, no, they did lose that No Mod 1, so maybe they just stick with the control. Actually, they could go into the free mod 1 as you mentioned, the No Mod 3, the hard rock.
I think free mod 3 actually. I think free mod 3 is more.
Or the free mod 3. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. They just have so much of the ball left, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking, right, if they don't want to pick into if they didn't pick into the control just now, what makes you think they're gonna pick into it now, right? So The correct answer here would be Hard Rock 2. The gamer answer here would be Free Mod 3. And then the actual correct answer is going to be Free Mod 1. Okay, it's not going to be Free Mod 1, but
Wow.
again, it's another RNG toss-up pick. It's Hard Rock 1. Man.
South Korea still wants to play into this mechanics, this Hard Rock aim tapping consistency, which is really shocking coming from them, given that they did lose on the No 1-1. I mean, it is certainly a very different map in comparison. This one, you know, a lot more comfortable, I think. The spacing is definitely not as wide, and this one focuses more on Hard Rock streams, Hard Rock bursts, and, you know, your Hard Rock aim that you're kind of used to seeing as Hard Rock 1 slot. But South Korea still going down this aim path is really shocking to me. I don't know why they don't want to go into what they're known for.
Exactly right. Like, are they like, I know it's a crazy thing to say, but are they expecting Chile to pick more control to them? Like is that really the strat that they're going for here? Because that's the only explainable reason why they wouldn't just shoot for the Hard Rock 1, right? Why would they go for something? Again, is this a risk really worth taking? And like, I can't even justify them saying that, you know, maybe they're trying to save these better picks for later, because like, the fact of the matter is they already got through one of those points. Like, are they just trying their hand at it again? Like, oh man, I don't know. We can theory craft all we want. We can't really know for sure what's going on in their heads. All we can talk about is what we have to expect from this kind of map, and there's nothing much to talk about, right? This is a pretty standard mixed mechanics consistency test. This map clocks in at 200 BPM, so just right above what these players are, you know, typically comfortable with. You know, it should be right in the Goldilocks zone for them. In fact, 200 BPM should be pretty alright. Shouldn't speed cap anyone. Shouldn't be too slow for anyone. And with this map coming in at a little over 5 minutes, you know, even more so than the No Mod 1, that this map is going to be a big test of your consistency. Even more so than No Mod 1, in fact, because No Mod 1 has quite a lot of skill cap, but on the flip side, I think Hard Rock 1's difficulty mainly comes from its length.
Yeah, absolutely right. Like, I think this map is, as you mentioned, a lot less skill cap, and I think people will be able to hold these large combos throughout the map, which is just going to be so important for a map of this length. We're going to get right into it, and you see exactly what this Hard Rock 1 is all about, right? It's all about this bursty Hard Rock consistency with some Axel decel streams as well to catch these players out. Alex are going to be finding that early break there, but South Korea is still going to be taking that early score lead just off the back of accuracy. But I mean, this map is just so long, and I think we're going to have to wait a good bit until we see some real action.
Yeah, we gotta get some popcorn in for this one, because as you mentioned, right, these misses from Allegrissimo and both Hana Yume, both Allegrissimo and Hana Yume won't start to matter until it's very late and we start to see those big combos. And honestly, we're expecting to see more misses coming in from these players. Nekori gonna be the next one to add on to the toll for Chile, but South Korea is going to see the drop of Amamiya Kokoro as well. Currently, in terms of the combos, Allegrissimo's recovery is really what's making the difference for South Korea at this juncture. Accuracy-wise as well, South Korea does hold a slight advantage, but I think with a map like this, we're already expecting to see very high accuracies from the entire lobby. The map now builds away from the more bursty section and more into the aim, more generic aim for these players to contend with. Shouldn't be anything too out of the ordinary for them, but you know, this map is one that definitely eats away at your tenacity. A line burst and nobody finds a miss, and just still at cruising altitude for all of these players.
We're still only 1/3 the way into the map, and everyone seems to stabilize pretty solidly. Combos are looking pretty high right now, and it is really just the 1v1 between Alfie and my keyboard on those FCs. But Allegrissimo, you know, with the recovery combo is basically an FC. But just when I say that diagonal stream catches both Hanayume and Allegrissimo out, that's actually going to help Chile a bit, because, you know, Allegrissimo was kind of the thing, but Alfie on the FC finds that miss.
That is devastating for the Chile scoreline, as now my keyboard runs completely uncontested in the lobby right now, and he's looking to compound that scoreline further and further to the right side, especially as all barricades have fallen for Chile. My keyboard might have found the miss, but Amamiya Koko was right there to continue the onslaught against Chile, continuing to beat up against their backs. Moving into the second half of this map, Alfie, you only continues to see more and more misses as that scoreline grows to a massive 100k. You know, on paper, not too much, but when your map is 4 minutes and 40 seconds long, that is going to be so hard for you to come back from. As Mamiya Kokoro continue to push into the tapping section with a 900, now 1k combo to his name.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a 100k score lead, and it does seem to try and make its way back, but, you know, there is only so much time left into this map, right? 100k is a pretty sizable score lead for a map of this length, and Amamiya Kokoro is still just on that combo, but just as I say that, he finds a miss. And now it is just Alfio and Algrissimo as the highest combos in the lobby. I mean, that score lead is going to start going back ever so slightly. But, you know, is there enough time, really?
Yeah, I mean, the scoreline might shift, but it will definitely not shift enough, right? I don't think Chile has ever gotten a combo advantage on this pick at all. So it's going to be very, very hard for them to even begin to think about making this comeback. We're in the last quarter of the map, and we are only going to see stagnation, which of course is only going to favor the team that was holding that early game priority in the map, and that was South Korea. Man, every time I see a Mamiya Kokoro on a map like this, I just see him draw zigzags on straight lines. That's insane. Anyways, my keyboard and Aggressive both find a miss, but down goes Alfeu, and Nikori and Hanayume are not going to be anywhere near enough to bring this comeback, so it's going to be yet another point for South Korea, and they're going to look to convert this match point. Oh no, pardon me. They're going to look to convert this break point into a pretty sizable 3-point lead over Chile.
You know, quite surprising to me, honestly, that South Korea would win on a map like this, I guess. Because, you know, I think Chile is the country that's more known for the mechanics, but South Korea winning this one pretty confidently with that 200k score lead. I mean, it was just that team consistency, right? When one player on the high combo found the miss, there was always another player to just keep that score lead going, and that is really just what gave them the score lead to be able to win this point. And they're going to be taking this one up 4-1. Pretty scary situation if you are Chile right now.
Yeah, no, it was always gonna. I think it was always gonna be difficult for Chile to win on any sort of pick. I mean, contrary to what you think, willwam, right? I think Chile, even in that Nobot one, was pretty shaky in their lead. They might have won it, but it was also sort of a coin flip. It was also sort of a coin flip victory. Definitely nothing to write home about. Definitely not something that they can say that they can strongly say that they are the team that's stronger on the aim, on the skill cap aim mechanics. So not too surprised on my end for that South Korea victory. But finally we get to see a speed pick come up from Chile. We were waiting for this.
I mean, yeah, it's about time they lent into this, you know, speed mechanics, which South Korea has known to be struggling on quite a bit with, right? And Chile is just a country that I think skills quite well into this speed mechanic, so I'm glad to see this Noma 2 finally come out. It's gonna be a 240 BPM. I don't really know how to describe it. It's like very weird streams, right? They go in very zigzaggy linear patterns, and yeah, it's just going to drain your stamina a lot, right?
I think I'm gonna talk here a little bit about this map, and like there's not a lot of aim in this map. So if Chile have been losing out on a lot of their aim picks in the past, it's definitely good for them now, because now they don't need to care about a lot of aim. It's really just about that 240 BPM shred. And I think we're definitely going to see the introduction of Fifi into this match, coming in for the speed. This kind of pick is very, very dangerous for South Korea. We haven't really gotten surprisingly enough, we haven't really gotten a chance to talk about it, because this is the first time we're seeing speed getting picked this matchup. But South Korea definitely struggle. Definitely struggle. They're already showing sort of cracks in their armor when it comes to the speed in their previous round, where it looked like only really a Mamiya Kokoro could exercise that sort of consistency on the map. So you can only imagine just how much harder it is when the poor SR gets taken up a notch, and you know and the same players are being fielded for the same maps. You can only imagine that, you know, that weakness from South Korea is just going to be magnified that much more.
Do you think, you know, South Korea have been showing, you know, as you mentioned, from that last round, they definitely have just an overall team lack of comfort on the sort of speed fix, and I think especially when we move into these later stages, that weakness is just going to be even more pronounced, especially against a team like Chile. So we'll have to see how they fare on this No More 2. I think this will open up a lot of angles for Chile if they're managed to take this one, but as it stands right now, we'll have to see what happens on this No More 2.
Yeah, that's right. Instantly, right? It's all about this shred, and it looks like my keyboard is going to be the first one to find a miss, so early lead going to go in favor of Chile. This is a 3-minute long map, so it's not the shortest map. It's really in that middle BPM, so consistency will still be very important. But consistency is seeming to be fleeting from the South Korea roster as Amamiya Koko finds another miss. Fifi is going to trade things up, but Chile holding 2 FCs against Chipori's 1 is only going to continue to grow that scoreline in favor of the left side. Accuracies as well. I mean, Gonza is topping the lobby with a 99.7% act, beating out Chipori, just hitting underneath that 99%. Fifi might continue to find misses, but it's a flip of the script that we've been saying before, right, willwam? Now it's Chile's accuracy safety net that's holding the scoreline in their favor.
Absolutely, yeah. With the 2 FCs on Alfia and Gonza, the 2 core players of Chile, just fighting against the 1 FC from Chipori. I mean, you know, they have it securely in their hands. As we move into this next third of the map, we see those linear zigzaggy streams, but catches no one out, and those ninja spinners as well. No one caught up by those. And, you know, as we move into the next section of the map, everyone seems to have stabilized quite comfortably, all sitting above that 500 combo mark, with Gonza, Alfiu, and Chipori still on the FCs. Fifi still finds a miss, but it's still going to remain in Chile's hands for now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just the accuracy for Chile that's just preventing the scoreline from moving towards the right side, right? I mean, Chile might find a miss, continue to find misses with Fifi, but the thing is, like, the rest of their lobby can hold on for long enough to wait for a accompanying miss to come from the right side. But with that miss from Alfiu, the Bancho client is going to do a bit of banchoing, and I do believe that is a real miss from Alfiu. So things are going to start getting dangerous. The scoreline is shifting, but it is shifting pretty slowly. So we can see another miss from South Korea at this time. It might be enough to equalize the force, but as it stands right now, the scoreline is looking to shift towards the right side, and with a quarter of the map left in the tank, there definitely is enough time, but Amamiya Koko will not get far of that combo, and once again, it's just going to be a battle of the 2 speed players from Chile and South Korea. Gonza versus Chipori. But as it stands right now, Gonza is holding a 2% ag lead over his adversary, and it's looking more and more difficult as the map slowly inches towards its final minute.
Yeah, I mean, that accuracy lead is really doing wonders here for the side of Gonza.
No!
And just like I said, with that miss from Chipori on the side of South Korea, it is all but gone for the side of South Korea. Chile just have this firmly in their hands, with Gonza still holding that 99% FC all the way to the very end of this No More 2, and they are going to be taking this point very comfortably. 300k score lead and rising. And, you know, this is exactly what you'd expect from Chile on a mechanics tapping map such as this No More 2, right? I think, you know, I'm just surprised, like, why didn't they go into this earlier, right? Like, they are so dominant on this sort of tapping mechanics, so, you know...
Were they scared of, like, Fifi, like, were they scared of Fifi dropping 300k? Like, why now? Where was this, like, 2 picks ago? Man, this is such a strong pick for Chile, and... But I mean, I'm just thankful that we even got to see it. You know, I'm just very happy that they finally decided to pull it out. And that's the thing, right? You don't, against a country like South Korea, who is very noticeably weak on the tapping, it's not even that you need a team that's crazy on speed to beat out South Korea. South Korea will struggle. So as long as you have players that can hold good scores all around, like, you don't even need a Gonza to do what Chile just did. But with that, South Korea is finally gonna go into the Hard Rock 2. Yeah, like, our predictions are finally coming true.
I mean, yeah, this Hard Rock 2 I think is pretty expected, right? South Korea have been leaning into this Hard Rock pool very often, right? They picked the Hard Rock 3, they picked the Hard Rock 1, and now they're going into this Hard Rock 2, which I think is very up South Korea's alley, right? It features a lot of that cursor control that South Korea is very known for, and being on the Hard Rock, I think it's just going to be a very good map for them, right?
Yeah, 100% right. I think Allegrissimo is definitely going to be a star player on this map. Like, we saw his performance on the Hidden 2, so when you put him on Hard Rock, which is you know, another one of his elements, I'd say that it is his element, but this guy is just insane on both Hidden and Hard Rock. But nonetheless, it's going to be such a great pick for South Korea. And you know, just to clear all the doubt, this is not precision. This is not CS 6.5. This is in fact a more normal. This is a more normal CS. I believe it's at CS 5.9. So not quite the CS 5.2 that Hard Rock 1 is, but then again, it is slightly more leaning towards that precision side. But it's definitely not as precision intense as the Hard Rock 3 that we saw before. To remind everyone, this Hard Rock 2 serves as sort of a counterbalance to the very flowy Hidden 2, right? This Hard Rock 2 features quite a bit of flowing, but the flowing is found in cuts, so you're gonna see a lot of sharper snaps. These players are gonna have to snap a lot more on this Hard Rock 2 than compared to the Hidden 2. But the same things I said before, closest analog to the Hidden 2, so this is this is looking like it's gonna be a very, very good pick for South Korea.
Yeah, and I mean, like the Hidden 2, it's also a very short map, right? Only 1 minute and 54 seconds. One of the shortest maps in this pool, I believe. So, you know, I think South Korea is obviously on paper going to be favored to win, but I think if Chile manages to find those larger combos, especially into like the halfway, the 2/3 way of the map, you know, they do have a chance because of how volatile this sort of map would be. But, you know, on paper, against the roster like South Korea, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have to wait and see to see if, you know, Chile's early picks on control had any substance behind them. We're going to see Hana Yume back into the lobby once again. Petit going to be the first miss on the board. So an early lead going to be pushed in favor of Chile at this juncture. But of course, with this map, very, very short, that miss might just be more significant than we think. That scoreline already at 20k going in favor of Chile as we move into the second quarter of the map. The flow in, the cuts come in, and Petit is going to be the only one finding yet another miss as we move into the first KI.
Yeah, it's just Petit finding misses here. Everyone else in the lobby still holding that FC into this first third of the map, and that score lead is going quite rapidly to the side of Chile now. It's at 175k, already halfway into the map. It just looks like everyone has so much comfort on this Hard Rock 2 right now, and like halfway into the map, 200k score lead. That's going to really take a couple misses from Chile to bring this back. Just I say that Allegrissimo, Alfio, and Hana Yume, and that's a full reset from South Korea's side. And it's just Gonza from the side of Chile to hold through this last third of the map.
Gonza is just going and going and going. It's just a question of how far he can take at this juncture. We're gonna talk about how crazy this point is for Chile to win, but Gonza, what are you doing? Looking to go to a 700k score as you move into the last quarter of the map, and with some response from South Korea, it does look quite a bit dangerous, especially with how short this is. But that miss from Amamiya Kokoro will likely be the nail in the coffin for this Hard Rock 2 pick. And willwam, I'm so surprised. They finally, it finally worked, you know? Like that early confidence on control, we finally see where it stemmed from. This Hard Rock 2 pick was a decisive victory, and it really makes you think what exactly happened. What was different about the Hard Rock 1 and the Hard Rock 3? Why was this Hard Rock 2 so different? Why were they so dominant on it?
I mean, it's just a bit hard to say, right? I think it could be a lot of things, right? I mean, Petit obviously finding those early misses while everyone else was holding the FC. It definitely gave Chile that early score lead that they needed into the first half of the map. And also, I guess, just them having more players that can set very good scores on this map, right? You know, obviously the pop-off from Gonza there, but also their other two supporting scores were not bad at all, and it seems that has worked out very well for them, taking that point, bring them up to 4-3, and now on their own pick, they're going back into the speed as we predicted with the DT2.
Yo, that's right, keep it coming. That's right, this is the speed abuse that we know South Korea absolutely detests. And with Chile finally winning that breakpoint over South Korea, this is the equalizing pick they need. Now, I swear to God, if Chile lose this, you know, I'm just gonna quit commentary. You know, it's not worth it anymore. But this is such a anti-South Korea pick. This is their kryptonite right here. 300 BPM, about 3 minutes long, so it is rather stamina intensive. They already showed a lot of struggle in the double time 2 from last week. I believe that was about 20 BPM slower. It was either the DT2 or the DT3, but it was the raw speed. It was the speed cap test map. And South Korea already showed a lot of struggle, so we're only expecting the struggle to be heightened with this DT2 pick with the high SR. Chile is likely going to be fielding a similar roster. Going to bring in the speed roster, Alfie, Nikori, and Feifei. And meanwhile, South Korea likely going to bring Amamiya, Kokoro, Chipori, and I think my keyboard? Yeah, looks like it's going to be my keyboard in for this DT2. And yeah, finally, willwam, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like a breath of fresh air.
I mean, yeah, it was looking quite dire for Chile, you know, when they were down 1-4, but I think, you know, they probably have this pick quite securely in their hands, given how dominant that No More 2 went. And, you know, the question is then, what do they go for after this, right? But we'll just have to see after this DT2, as Yami mentioned, it's going to be your 300 BPM speed check. Should be pretty challenging, but I think Chile should have a much better time on this than South Korea.
Yeah, definitely, right. But well, we will have to wait and see. 300 BPM is really at the upper echelon. It's at 300 BPM, speed becomes as decisive as, you know, AR6. So we'll have to see if that trips up any of these players. As of right now, we're actually seeing a surprising amount of comfort coming in from a lot of these players. Definitely expected more people to be dropping below, you know, 98, but Gonza is just proving me wrong. Gonza and Alfie are both proving me wrong. But we see a bunch of misses clear these players early on. Feifei and my keyboard alongside Gonza are going to be the first ones to go down for their respective countries. And in fact, Amamiya Kokoro is going to be the one to hold. But look at the accuracy, willwam. There is no accuracy to be had on South Korea. And it's really that safety net that Alfie is generating alongside about 500 combo and an FC that's keeping that scoreline comfortably in the hands of Chile. And as Chipori finds the miss, I mean, Alfie has stalled enough time to make things go towards the left side.
I mean, yeah, as it stands right now, it's just kind of that 1v1 of full combos between Alfie and Amamiya Kokoro, but Alfie just has such a dominant accuracy advantage, right? 3 whole % is absolutely massive, and with Gonza to back him up, I mean, Chile is just taking this one quite securely. The score lead is only 75k right now, but it is going to shoot towards their side very quickly as we move into this next third of the map.
Yeah, that's right. DT, you know how DT scorelines are, right? They can grow very, very quickly. And as you move into the next KI, Feifei might find a miss, but that's nowhere gonna be enough as my keyboard does trade things up. Gonza is just completely beating Chipori's recovery out of the water in both combo and accuracy. And the same can be said with the FC duel from Alfie and Amamiya Kokoro. As you move into the second half of the map, hold the phone! As you move out of that break, Amamiya Kokoro is gonna stand atop the rubble as the only FC remaining in the lobby. I mean, count my lucky stars. South Korea might not be known for speed, but Amamiya Kokoro might hold. But the Martha will not live to see another circle as Amamiya Kokoro finds that miss, and any hope of a comeback has been absolutely shut down for the side of South Korea.
And, you know, with that accuracy lead buffer that Chile had built up over that first half of the map, I mean, they are just going to be taking this one so comfortably. That score lead is reaching almost 300k now, and South Korea just don't have anything to respond at all. They are really struggling on this. I mean, look at the accuracy difference across the team, right? The lowest accuracy on Feifei on Chile is higher than the highest accuracy on South Korea, and this is just exactly what we expect from a team like Chile, right?
I mean, it's exactly that, and you know, it's easier to look at hindsight, but South Korea definitely put up a very, very good fight on the DT2. I think South Korea has definitely been improving in their DT2, not just in their 3WC, but in their OWC roster as well. They've been getting a lot of new blood double-time players, and Amamiya Kokoro himself, in the past he was known for being horrible at DT, but this time, despite, not being able to beat out the two large scores from Chile, put up a very, very formidable fight on this DT2, and I think he's very, very proud of that himself. But unfortunately, the point is gonna go into the hands of Chile, and here is where it gets tough. We are 4-4 right now, and we are moving into the mid-game. Picks are gonna start getting very, very dicey. It wasn't wasn't the case, wasn't so much so the case in previous rounds. But when we are at finals SR, where the SR makes a lot of these skill sets very, very difficult, and it makes it so that, sometimes you need the specialist to perform in order for your team to do well. Here's where it gets tough. Picking is going to be a lot more dangerous, and on-map performances will be all the more important. South Korea is going to kickstart the mid-game, being the ones with the first pick, and they are going to go into the free mod 3 as expected.
I mean, the one thing I want to mention is, looking at this pool, it feels like we have a lot of control-y South Korea sort of favored maps, right? We have the No Mod 3 still up there. We have the DT4, which still DT, but it is very gimmicky. We have the Free Mod 1. Free Mod 2, I honestly think South Korea could test on quite well. And obviously the Free Mod 4 slidery techie map. So I think on paper, South Korea have a lot more confident picks per se, as opposed to Chile, which have only really been winning on the speed. But that being said, right, Chile, won that Hard Rock 2, and it shows that they can definitely contest on some of the control picks. So I'll be interested to see how well they can do that once we move past this Free Mod 3. But yeah, this Free Mod 3 gonna be your anti-mod, your KTG-ster anti-mod, mind you. Gonna feature a lot of slow, low VPN double patterns that I honestly don't know how to describe them, but you just need to snap so fast to be able to hit them. And on mods, I mean, especially on the hidden, this is just such a brutal one.
Yeah, no, this cat pick looks very good for South Korea, right? Given that Chile ban on the hidden 3, already the confidence definitely looks to favor South Korea, at least on the hidden side. And I love Chile, but I don't quite think that they have quite the diversity to field players as strong as South Korea does. We're likely gonna see Amamiya Kokoro on the hidden and Allegrisimo on the hard rock, with Petite filling in the no mod. Meanwhile, on the side of Chile, likely gonna see Hana Yume in for hard rock, Nekori, I think, for the no mod, and then either Alfie or Gonza for the hidden. I think these are pretty standard free mod rosters for both of these countries. But yeah, again, right, it's a KTG-ster anti-mod. Map stats wise, it looks very, very familiar. CS5, AR8, so an equal amount of testing for both the hidden and the hard rock players. The main point of difficulty is going to be the map focus. KTG-ster known for a lot of finger control and a lot of aim control, and when you tag that alongside, say the CS 6.5 for the hard rock players, the OD10 for the hard rock players, and then having to deal with AR8 hidden, low AR hidden, the uncertainty of such for the hidden players, it just throws a huge boon to the consistency of them. But the good luck, have funs are coming in chat. We should be off to the races very, very soon.
Yeah, I think, it's quite important that South Korea wins a point like this, right? Chile struggled, banned out both the gimmick, right? We're moving to stage of the map where every point really matters, because if Chile can secure a breakpoint on this, right, they are very poised to send this to match point or even take the entire match. But I think on paper, South Korea should be pretty comfortable on it. It's just a matter of how they perform in the match, and as we wait for as we wait for this intro to roll out, I mean, we're gonna see exactly what this map is about. There's double patterns, these snap patterns that require quite a lot of cursor control on any mod, right? The hard rock on the precision element, and on hidden is just really tough. I don't even know how else to put it. It's so tough.
Yeah, that's right. We saw a similar map like this last week. We saw how in the Hard Rock 2, it's all about these, doubles, a good mix of the aim control and the finger control. And South Korea demolished that map against Brazil, I believe. So we are definitely expecting a repeat of history to occur here. But as it stands now, South Korea is in fact going to be the first one to go down to Chile, with both a slight accuracy lead and now a very, very decisive combo lead as Mamiya Coco finds a miss and Alegrissimo is left to defend against the Sharks. That is the entirety of the Chile roster right now. We gotta hope that this KI takes out some of their combos as we move into the second quarter of the map. willwam, remind me, is there any large diff spikes on a map like this? Do you recall?
I think there's some weird rhythm-y section at the end where it goes into 1-6 and whatnot, but this map remains fairly consistent throughout, and right now, Chile just looks so comfortable on a map like this, right? They still have the three-way FC, and it's just being matched by Alegrissimo on the side of South Korea. I mean, Amara Coco and Petit are certainly making those recoveries very well. As it sounds right now, Amara Coco trades that break with Hania Yume. I mean, that's going to favor South Korea a little bit. And with that break from Gonzachi, it's looking more and more doable for South Korea.
Yeah, that's right. We are moving into, the KI of the map. Or at least what should be the KI of the map. But we're going to have to see if any more misses come out from any one of these players. In particular, if you're a South Korea fan, you're eyeing that miss from the Nikore Anchor No More performance. But right now, it's just a standstill between both of these FCs. It's really the recoveries that's making the difference. The recovery from Petit that's making the difference for South Korea right now. But the clock is ticking. We're in the last third of the map, and we're getting to that very, very precarious ending section where we're expecting to see more of these 1-6 patterns attack these players, and down goes Nikore. The scoreline is going to shift, and it's going to shift very, very fast as Alegrissimo now has the entire scoreline at their disposal, but he will not get far. He manages to just barely move it over to the right side though, and with Petit right there, finally finding his grip on the map with the 600 combo recovery, it looks like he is going to look to escort this scoreline into the hands of South Korea, but he's not out of the clear yet as Gonza is a looming threat on the right side. But it looks like as the map ticks to its end, Gonza finds the miss, Petit finds the miss, and the stagnation is just going to favor South Korea. A bit of a dicey pick, willwam, but still another point into the hands of South Korea.
I mean, yeah, it was looking quite comfortable for Chile there into the first half of the map, right? They had a pretty sizable 150k score lead, I believe. But South Korea, just with that recovery on Petit and with Alegrissimo holding that FC for so long, I mean, able to snatch it back there at the very end. And that's going to bring them up to 5-4, maybe a lot closer of a pick than they would have liked.
Right.
But, I mean...
They don't need to know that. They don't need to know that. They don't need to know that, Will.
Any point is a good point at this stage. And now, Chile now have the tough question of what to go into next. I mean, they've kind of exhausted all the straight tapping picks from those No More 2 and DT2. And I mean, there are a couple of angles they could go into here. They could go into more DT with the DT4, or they could go into the Fremont 2, which, has that sort of tapping flowy element, but I feel like it's low enough BPM that South Korea could quite easily contest on a map like that. So, honestly, quite hard to say.
Honestly, I think we might see Chile go for a Fremont 4 angle. Bottom line is that they really don't have any good picks here, right? I think their two best picks here is either Hidden 1 or either Fremont 1 or Fremont 4. I don't think there's any role they go into Fremont 2 because low BPM streams, South Korea might not be good at speed, but when you test them on a BPM that they're comfortable on, it's death. DT4, we all thought South Korea would be bad at it when they picked it against Brazil yesterday, right? Last week, pardon me. Not happening. They are good at DT4. They can absolutely shred on DT tech. So really, what looks like picks that would normally favor a team that has the upper hand on mechanics are just completely out of the question here. You don't go DT4 or Fremont 2, and there we have it. The Fremont 4 pick comes out. I was definitely expecting Chile to dabble into you know, the control pool that they seemed to want to try out a bit in the early stages of the match. Before, it didn't really mean too much, you know, because they had that safety net of the hard mechanics, the harsh mechanics test. But now it is do or die.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Fremont 4 feels like the pick that they would win on most easily against a team like South Korea. I think the others are a lot more South Korea favored, right? I'm looking at like the No Mod 3, the Free Mod 1, all pretty South Korea, you know, very in their ballpark for sure. But this Free Mod 4, mostly just, you know, slider tech, and there's a lot of downtime in this map, which I don't know which team is going to abuse that more, right? It's not going to be about the consistency as much as it is just hitting those tricky slider PIs and gaining as much free combo as you can.
Yeah, and I think you definitely mentioned it, right? Being able to build that momentum going into that final KI is going to be the key. And I guess in that aspect, right, willwam, it does sort of favor the team that prefers consistency over hard skill cap. And I think that's the sort of narrative that we've been drawing up this entire match, right? That South Korea is the team that's very, very strong when it comes to like 9-star control, but Chile might have the upper hand when it comes to stuff like, say, No Mod 1, where it's a bit more accessible. So yeah. It will be interesting though. It will be interesting. I think mods-wise, we're probably going to see the same lineup being fielded. Maybe instead of seeing Hana Yumein for this Chilean squad, we see Gonza. Yeah, and there we go. But on the side of South Korea, either we see Allegrissimo on the hard rock or the no mod. Well, it's one or the other for both Allegrissimo and Petit, and we're likely going to see a Mamiya Kokoro take the hidden to round things off. But yeah, once again, they're trying their hand at free mod again. The mental, it's definitely a mental hurdle that they need to jump over, right? After losing out on that free mod 3. But then again, when you look at that free mod 3 and you remember, Chile was holding the lead for a good portion of the map, and in fact, they were holding the lead for the beginning from the first half of that map. So who knows? Just planting some seeds of sorts.
I mean, you know. South Korea definitely cannot do what they did in that previous Suma 3, right? Because it is so hard to gain any sort of score in the second half of this map, given that that is where a lot of the difficulty lies. And yeah, as you mentioned, Chile just, I think if they're able to replicate what they did and hold through that first half of the map, I think they honestly have this one in the bag. But with a skill set like Control, it's just so hard to say for both of these teams.
Yeah. It's very hard to ever picture South Korea losing on Control. I think that's the key, right, willwam? Like, we can try to talk ourselves into it, but at the end of the day, South Korea is the Control country. That's the reputation that they've dreamt out of themselves, and that's gonna dictate a lot of... That's gonna loom over Chile's game plan for much of this later stage. But here we go. Nicha, this is a very, very well-known song, and instant you get to see the first KI of the map, all about these large sliders that clear the screen, and Alfie is going to be the one to draw first blood. It looks like the combo, the accuracy is going to make things a bit more competitive, as Petit on the other corner of the lobby finds the miss to trade things up. So it's gonna continue to be a tightrope walk as Allegrissimo and Gonza trade blow for blow. Both countries trading blow for blow right now, and now it's a top row bout between Nekori and Mamiya Kokoro as we move through this KI.
Yeah, once we get out of this KI, it's going to be very hard for either team to come back if those FCs drop, right? There's going to be a lot of free combo moving into the second third of the map. And with Nekore and Mamiya Kokoro still holding past this 1/3, past that tricky intro there, I mean, they're going to have a lot of score to build up. But I mean, that score lead is only 8k right now. It is on a knife's edge, and we're just gonna have to hope we don't see any, like, stupid misses come out from these FCs.
Yeah, that's right. We've been seeing a lot of that. You know, Mamiya Kokoro on that DT2 Alpha on a previous round. I can't quite remember, but what still remains constant, remains true. You know, we need that momentum. Momentum. That is the name of the game on a map like this. And with us past the first half of the map, time is ticking. The scoreline is still incredibly competitive. Either side can win this. If any side loses any one of their combos, that scoreline is gonna instantly shift towards the opposing end. It's just a lot more momentum building right now, Willem. There's really not much to say about the map, right? It's just going to be about the KIs as we slowly but surely build into the last third of the map.
Yeah, we're gonna see more of those cross-screen sliders very shortly. It's just gonna be about who can hold those combos into the very end. Everyone looking so solid right now, but it's Nakore for the side of Chile. Petit and everyone actually, a full reset from both teams. And South Korea just has that tiny score lead, only 10k. It's just a matter of who can maintain that activity into this last section. Now it's flipping. It's only 3k right now.
Oh my goodness, willwam, I'm seeing no more one happen all over again. It's this incredibly tightrope walk from the scoreline right now, and it's just gonna be a matter of these minute yet significant, incredibly significant combos from the entire lobby. You cannot expect any miss from anyone right now, but here's where we're expecting the nerves to be an all-time high. But as we see a complete collapse from the Chilean side, that scoreline is gonna fly in favor of South Korea. Alagrissimo and Petit might find a miss, but Amamiya Kokoro standing tall with the hit until the very end, looking to secure yet another point for South Korea, taking their country all the way to match point.
I mean, that's just a number one story right again, right? So close until the very end, and South Korea just managing to hold on for dear life there. Almost 600k score there from Amamiya Kokoro. The standout performance there, I think. And yeah, South Korea is going to be bringing this to match point, and it's looking quite dicey for Chile, I feel. I feel like South Korea has a lot of picks that they can feel very confident on.
Yeah, that's right. But, I mean, as much as they can feel confident on a lot of picks, I do also think that these picks are not one-sided, right? I think Chile has proven that point. Their early attempts at control were not unfounded. Right? We just saw them perform on the Fremont 4 and it was very competitive all the way to the very end. Same can be said for the Fremont 3, and given how they won on the Hard Rock 2, I mean, it's safe to say that Chile can put up a fighting chance when it comes to the control. The only question is, will they be able to win 2 more coin flips? Right? South Korea, they have the entire pool at their disposal. The hidden pool is incredibly South Korea favored just by nature of being the hidden pool. No More 3 is a control map. No More 3 is one of those picks that South Korea just are so well known for always picking into. And the free mod pool, do you really want to go into the free mod pool after having lost 2 free mods, both free mod 3 and free mod 4? I don't think so. So, whatever it is, if Chile want to take this tiebreaker, they need to win this pick now. But even if they win this pick, they still have a pretty treacherous climb to survive. Timeout! Whoa! No. They're feeling it! Ooh!
I mean, yeah, South Korea are gonna be taking their sweet time to pick this one. I mean, this is the only chance they have to really push their knife against Chile's throw, right? This is the chance for them to just end this match right here, right now on their own pick, something they feel just bang confident on, right? So it's, I mean, they just want to take their sweet time with it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to talk about this for this entire match, and I think now is a good time to talk about it. If you're wondering why South Korea takes this time out, just think about it real quick. South Korea, in this 3-digit World Cup, has played 2 tiebreakers. No, they played 3 tiebreakers. No, they played 3. They played 3, haven't they? They played 3 tiebreakers. I'm pretty damn sure they played 3 tiebreakers this entire tournament. Once against France, once last week against Brazil. Was it 2 tiebreakers? It was 2 tiebreakers.
All right. I think I might just speak to it.
Yeah, it is 2 tiebreakers. But for what it's worth, South Korea has never gotten a sweep. They've gotten decisive wins, like their most decisive one being their victory over Indonesia 6-3, but they've never gotten a solid sweep on the board. And every time, you know, a match goes close, it always more times than not goes all the way to a tiebreaker. South Korea's timeout here is one that stems from respect of Chile. They know what they're capable of, and they know that if they don't play this right, they can very well lose this. This is no, you know, South Korea OWC 2024 shenanigans. This is South Korea 3WC. This is South Korea that has been severely weakened. And so that's why I think South Korea is, like, I don't know if horrified is the right word, but I would say that they are horrified of this sort of board state. And and that's why I love this matchup, right, willwam? Because you look at on the other side of the bracket and you see Chile. Like it's two very, very contrasting stories. South Korea coming into 3WC had a lot of good prospects because they are a tenured team. They are 2-time winners, yada yada yada, defending their title. They are a country with a reputation. The same cannot be said for Chile. You know, Chile, this seed 3 was completely unexpected from the entirety of the predictions panel. Like, we predicted them to be what, like DNQ or 13 to 16 or something. Insane. Seed 3 is insane. But their trajectories this tournament have been so different. South Korea was going so many tiebreakers against their adversaries, and Chile only have been getting decisive victories or losses. And so we come to this. And
South Korea is gonna be pulling out the DT4. I mean, I don't know how to feel about this one, honestly. Like, even though they absolutely crushed Brazil in the DT4 last week with an impressive score from, I believe it was it
Alegrissimo. It was like Alegrissimo. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Chile could be weaker on other things, right? I feel like Fremont 1 is right there, and also Nomon 3. I don't know. As DT4 strikes me as a little bit weird, but I don't know. Any thoughts on this one?
Okay. I think one thing to establish is the DT4 is that this DT4 is pretty different from the DT4 that we saw last week, right? Last week, the DT4 we saw was like a Fracture Hawkins like slider tech map. Is this map really that slider techy? I think there are quite a lot of sliders, don't get me wrong, but I think the difficulty lies more in how awkward it is. The aim itself doesn't include a lot of sliders. Like, the awkwardness doesn't come from sliders, that which was the case for the DT4 that we saw last week, right? If anything, I think this DT4 is honestly a bit more accessible than what we saw before. So I don't know if last week's DT4 is a great analog to look at.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I think they're just two very different types of maps, and this one also being a lot longer, going to be a lot more, less RNG than last week's DT4 for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's a lag train. What more is there to say? It's South Korea either going to be ending this match right here, right now, on the DT4, or Chile going to be winning this break point and just getting to pick for another day.
Yeah, I'm jittery, willwam, because I definitely know that Chile is capable of taking a point off South Korea on this, and if they manage to win this point, it becomes a lot easier for them to think about getting to the tiebreaker. But an early miss from both Nekori, Alphayu, and Hanayumi, the entirety of the Chilean roster, spells otherwise for this lineup, as South Korea holds strong in the early sections of the map with Amamiya Koko and Alegrissimo. Dynamic duo of South Korea holding strong with a double FC.
They're kind of just gonna run away with this, right? I mean, the accuracies are just so high on both of their scores, and they've already built up a 100k score lead. I mean, as you mentioned before, these DT score leads can get very out of control, but it's a matter of how long they can hold as we get this guy here, and Amamiya Koko falls, but the entirety of Chile collapses as I say that, and Alegrissimo is the only one in the lobby to hold.
Yeah, every time South Korea finds a miss, be it Petit, be it Amamiya Koko, Chile just finds 3 more. Right, there's nothing they can do. Like, there is no combo to be found from the entirety of this Chilean roster, and I think it's not a matter of being inconsistent. It's really just a matter of comfort, and it's clear to see that South Korea just hold that comfort advantage, that technological advantage when it comes to their comfort on this DT4. And similar to last week's DT4 for willwam, I know we were talking about how it couldn't be a close analog, but Alegrissimo is showing us, he's making us eat our words with this FC going into the second half of the map with such a strong showing. 98% actor boot. Finally finds the miss, but that is so much damage dealt to the scoreline. 300k in favor of the right side.
Yeah, there's only a third of the map left to go, and while Chile has stabilized on all 3 of their players there, it's just a matter of, is there enough time to bring it back, right? I mean, South Korea is shown to be very comfortable on the map, and there really just isn't a lot of time for Chile to try and take this back. They need to find multiple breaks from the side of South Korea.
Oh my goodness, the believer in me is believing willwam. They all hit that despite. Meanwhile, Petit found the miss, but as we get into the KI, this is the killer section for the entire Chilean roster. Hana Yume finds the miss. The scoreline continues to shift towards the left side, but down goes Ababia Kokoro, and he takes down 3 bodies with him as Allegrissimo, the lone survivor of the onslaught. We're moving into the last sections of the map, and South Korea will not let history repeat. They will be decisively taking this victory over Chile 7-4 on Lag Train.
Ooh, I mean,
They're knocking on Australia's door, willwam. They're knocking on Australia's door.
I mean, you know, from being sent down to the losers bracket all the way in round of 16, I mean, they won this victory, right? They have to prove themselves.
Oh man. Oh man. Are we tie-breakering? Are we tie-breaking? Are we show matching?
Tiebreaker.
Looks like we are. Man, I've seen this map now twice in tournament, man. I've seen this map now twice in tournament. Oh yeah, it looks like we will be seeing a tiebreaker show match. We just got confirmation from Aline. Or Ellen. So we should be getting into extra judgment. This song, well, this song needs no introduction whatsoever, right? I think.
Yeah.
One of the most I mean, all of the OS original tiebreakers, the OS World Cup original tiebreakers are very famous. This in particular, coming right after Uparts, was like the second big exclamation mark. Oftentimes known to be the song that was made in 1 week, right? Song was made in 1 week. Song was like mapped hit sound in like under extremely rushed circumstance, like it was Nintendo releasing a Pokemon game. So like, yeah, nonetheless, it's an extremely good song. It's a phenomenal tiebreaker as well. And a big tiebreaker collapse. I don't need to go over it. I don't need to go over it all over again. Was this played in match during this year?
This year,
remember.
Didn't we see it in, what was it, Layla's Tech Cup?
Oh yeah, I saw it in Layla's Tech Cup. We saw it in Layla's Tech Cup.
Sugar Rush, sorry, Sugar Rush.
Oh yeah, Sugar Rush. Did we see this during the year though? Did we see this during 2022?
Yeah, ooh, I don't.
What happened this year? I know USA won, but what actually happened this year?
I don't remember.
Neither do I. I know. Maybe someone in chat can tell us, but yeah.
Oh yeah, we did see it. Germany versus South Korea.
Man.
Wait, shit, no, wrong year.
What are you doing? What is doing,
that was RPG year. Okay.
Bro was looking at 2021. Oh wait, this song came after RPG. What am I talking about? Oh my days. Can you see that like neither of us were born when this song was released? Like none of us were in the tournament team when this was released. We are newbies. We do not know ball, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. When was your account made, willwam? I know we're kind of like trolling now. When was your account made?
I think it's like 2018, I think. That's not bad.
You were in 2018. Damn, you old as hell, bro.
Yeah,
and you're
bro.
so horrible. Damn, pack it up, bro.
I know, right?
OC Gaming CTF? OC Gaming Catch the Feet? What? Hold up.
Don't worry about it.
Alright, anyways. Yeah, I mean, any big things that you want to talk about since we're, you know, in the towards the end of this match. We're kind of just talking now. We're podcasting now.
I don't know, I'm just kind of interested to see, because I think tomorrow I feel like South Korea have a pretty good chance of beating Australia.
As long as they don't pick No More One into them. That's what I think.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna see a repeat of this, I think.
Yeah, so it will be interesting then moving forward into grand finals. Because it's gonna be USA, Hong Kong, and then either South Korea or Australia. And I mean, South Korea is known for being in grand finals, right? They've done it time and time again. They're these grand finals merchants or whatever. But
so has Australia. To be fair, so has Australia. Maybe not the grand finals merchant, maybe the third place merchants, but but I digress.
It'll be interesting to see how South Korea performs, like in grand finals without the forum and like Frigate to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the story that we've been telling this entire time with South Korea, right? Like, this South Korean roster, it's a lot of proof work. It's like a question of whether, you know, they were boosted, whether their performance has been determined by Fragrance of Page and Forum in their previous years, or whether, you know, they can match up to what they had in the past. And you know what? For what it's worth, I think South Korea are my favorites to win their matchup against Australia. I know they swept Canada, but I mean, it's also accounting for the fact that they were down a player in one Dario, and I think that's a pretty big hit.
For sure, yeah. I don't know. I'm just thinking about how South Korea would fare against those top two seeds.
Hong Kong and US.
Like those are both incredibly scary, and without your carries in Forum and Fragrance, like it's going to be.
It's about the X factor. I think it's about the X factor that South Korea just doesn't have.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think we were discussing South Korea's roster, like, going into this match, and even against a team like Chile, it just felt like South Korea had a weaker roster overall, right?
I mean, in what way? In what way?
I mean, I think we were going on about how, like, the core for South Korea was weaker, and also that Chile's supporting would be a lot better, but seems, I mean, maybe it's because of that skill cap, right? South Korea just have that experience playing in these finals and grands pros, these grand finals and grands.
I mean, it's also, I mean, they also kind of proved us wrong today. I think my keyboard, Sherba and Petit, really, in particular, my keyboard, like, I thought this guy was a tapping player, and I thought he was just doing a tapping player doing bad on tapping, but he showed up on that No More 1, right? Really, like, the scaling for South Korea is looking very, very good. But then again, do you think it's enough to beat Hong Kong? Do you think it's not enough to beat Hong Kong? I don't know, man.
I honestly don't. I haven't really been paying to Hong Kong throughout this tournament, I can't lie. I mean, it's just kind of hard to say. I feel like when I did my research, like...
Holy crap, look at that three-way from South Korea.
Yo, what the hell?
Look at that three-way.
They're still holding. Bro, South Korea just tiebreaker country, bro. Like,
Ironically, bro. I'll put Petite in. Let's look at what Petite's doing.
Yeah, like, I feel like all of these... Like, when I was doing my research, like, for previous weeks, this felt like Hong Kong and USA weren't doing anything outstanding. Like, I think definitely moving into the grand final stage, they're going to really showcase their skill cap ability. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting.
Yeah, no. The way that I've always described this three World Cup is that, like, the gap between the top two and the rest of the tournament is huge, and then the gap between the top one and top two has been even bigger. We're gonna see that if the latter holds true tomorrow, right? In the Hong Kong versus USA match, which, as much as I like to say USA win this, I really want to believe. And I've always thought the USA is untouchable in the past, but, you know, Australia proved me wrong in the O's World Cup. So well, I'm excited to see whether Hong Kong can give us a show. But for what it's worth, top 3 seem pretty set in my eyes as we move to the ending of Extra Judgment. I personally think that it's gonna be, as my predictions in the prediction stream, I do believe that it's gonna be South Korea, Hong Kong, and then USA. But I mean, only time will tell, right? Well, only time will tell.
Just have to wait until next week.
Yep, indeed we will. And with that, once again, congratulations to South Korea for moving forward in the losers bracket. They will be moving to face up against Australia tomorrow. So very, very soon. So if you are interested in this match, do hop on. Maybe we'll host like a watch party or something for CDC. Like quick plug on the 3WC channel. I hope you don't mind, Nick. But jokes aside, I think that is a good place to wrap up. Unfortunately, an immense showing from Chile this entire 3 World Cup. And given how they were seed 3, they went from being a country that was predicted to 13th to 16th to being seed 3, and then going so far in the finals bracket. I think they can be very, very proud of themselves. But I think until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching 3WC 2026. My name has been gamicrayola. His name has been willwam. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!